Square, starting at the train station. If it's your first trip down the Grand Canal, you might want to stow this book and just take it all in. Venice is a barrage on the senses that hardly needs narration, but these notes give a cruise a little meaning and help orient you to this great city. You can break up the tour by hopping on and off at various sites described in greater depth in the chapter. Just remember, a single ferry Vaporetto ticket is a good 75 minutes. Passes let you hop on and off all day. We took the Vaporetto. Okay, let's see. Where does it? You're more likely to find an empty seat if you catch the Vaporetto at the Piazzale Roma. Try to snag a seat in the bow, the front of the captain's bridge, for the perfect vantage point for spotting sights left, right, and forward. Not all boats have seats in the bow, but some of the older Vaporetto do. Otherwise, your options are sitting inside and viewing the passing sights through windows, standing on an open middle deck where you can move forward from side to side if the boat is not crowded, especially easily after dark. Or sitting outside in the back where you'll miss the wonderful forward views. The left side of the boat has a slight edge where the moored sights and the best late in the day. Stops to consider. Some interesting stops are Rialto Mercado, Accademia Museum near the Peggy Guggenheim Collection. Overview. The Grand Canal is Venice's main street. At more than 2 miles long, nearly 150 feet wide, and nearly 50 feet deep, is the city's largest canal, lined with its most impressive palaces. It is the remnant of a river that once spilled from the mainland into the Adriatic. The sediment it carried former barrier islands that cut Venice off from the sea, forming a lagoon. Venice was built on marshy islands of the former delta, sitting on wood billings, driven nearly 50 feet into the city. About 25 miles of canals drain the city, dumping lake streams into the Grand Canal. Technically, Venice has only 3 canals. Is Venice sinking? Venice has battled rising water levels since the 5th century. Several factors, both natural and artificially constructed, cause Venice to flood about 100 times a year, usually